Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you again as always for all the love and support. Today we're going to be talking about some more Gray Zone Warfare. I'll link my first video talking about it down below, which definitely got some interesting feedback when I called it the Tarkov killer. To address that quickly, because I most definitely read all of those comments and definitely dived in and responded to some of you guys, I wanted to talk about why I called it the Tarkov killer in the first place. And yes, I acknowledge that it's not one for one the same type of game as Tarkov, so Tarkov won't necessarily die from the release of this game. However, the reason I believe this game will be a healthier experience so far has been the communication from the devs with the community. If that is via Discord, YouTube videos, or Twitter, they're doing a good job of setting a healthy base, which is going to be very important to the success on launch of the game to avoid a DOA release, which is a dead on arrival release, which we've seen with a lot of games as of lately, just because they have a very bad build up and lead up to release. Battlestate Games has tried and sometimes succeeded in communicating with the community, but for 95% of the time I'd say we lack any form of communication or information from them. Over the weekend, I watched and caught up with the dev interview, which dived into some healthy discussions about the game and some nice information. So I most definitely recommend giving that a watch, and I'll link it down below so you guys can give it your watch yourselves. Gray Zone Warfare is going to attempt to bring hardcore systems into a looter shooter game. If you don't know what a looter shooter is, it is a game that prioritizes gathering loot to improve your character's equipment and putting in emphasis on risks. In a firefight where most of the time where you die, you lose all your gear you had. In Escape from Tarkov, for reference, you have your stash, which is items you use to equip on your character that you risk losing by taking into a raid. I expect Gray Zone Warfare to have similar mechanics. I want to give my opinion and hear what you guys think on what Gray Zone should seek to do in order to become a main player in the looter shooter genre to compete with games such as Escape from Tarkov and DayZ. I think survival games are actually on the up and up more than ever, and Gray Zone could launch into a market ready for a good looter shooter. The first thing is, while this may be obvious, utilize community feedback to balance the game for its health. This does not mean nerfing systems that absolutely ruin the experience for casual players. I'm looking at you, Tarkov. I want them to balance the combat with the focus on PvP being rewarded healthily. From what I've gathered, the developers don't want PvP to be the main aspect of their game. They've communicated that, and they want to enable communication and coordination with all three factions, not necessarily shooting the first thing you see on sight. However, I want the PvP that does happen to not penalize you for winning a fight. I don't want to have a fight, kill a geared player, and then get stuck behind a weight system, which makes it impossible to loot around because you are so heavy with other players' gear on you now. I get the realism approach, but there's a limit to certain systems that don't need to ruin the fun in a video game. And I'm not saying get rid of the weight system, I'm just saying balance it accordingly. The next thing I want to talk about is resources in game. First off, let me give credit to the Tarkov wiki, because most of us Tarkov gamers would be lost like deer in the headlights if it wasn't for the wiki. However, I don't want to have a website open to tell me what ammo to use or what I need to do in a game because of the lack of clarity and lack of resources in the game itself. Again, I love the hardcore mechanics, which make it much more difficult than your average shooter, but I don't think anyone enjoys breaking the immersion of the game by having to go look at the website outside of the game. So please, provide us with at least 95% of those resources we need to play the game in-game. What do you guys think of this? Do you guys enjoy the third-party use, or would you guys prefer keeping resources to learn in the game itself? If you guys are enjoying the video so far, guys, a like would be so appreciated in helping the video reach out in the algorithm and give me some good feedback as well. Also, a sub always helps the channel grow tremendously as we push for that 500 sub mark. Thank you as always, guys. Back to the video. Okay, the last point I want to talk about is a big one. Cheaters. Madfinger's Games are going to have a battle on their hands with this one. And there are going to be a few big important ways to tackle this. The obvious one, please have a good enough anti-cheat to catch the blatant cheaters. And personally, if you need a riot type kernel level anti-cheat for this, I'm okay with it personally. If that makes my experience healthier within the gaming, within playing the game, if it needs to be a very deep-rooted anti-cheat, I'm okay with that. That's my opinion on it, but I mean, everybody else will have their own feedback on that. The next one is having a system of flag players abusing systems in the game. The best reference I have for this is RMT and Escape from Tarkov in the flea market. I am not a developer of video games, however, I believe there has to be a way to implement a system that flags someone for review when taking in about an influx of cash or reputation in the game. There has to be something that pops up and he just flags the game within the systems that they're making too much money or the reputation may be too high, something like that, which we have seen a lot of the time with the flea market with RMT sellers and people, buying rubles with actual money. Another system, in my opinion, would be to utilize the community. If you feel undermanned and you feel understaffed, I know the community can help push accounts to a final review type of system, utilizing verified sources as a first line of defense. It's always super helpful, but a very fine line you have to walk. You never want community members to have too much powers where they can affect the player base with harsh decisions. However, I believe utilizing something like this can help limit cheaters and false bans at the same time and keep some of the load off of your shoulders. So, those are some of my important points to Madfinger Games that they should make sure to have, honed out when it comes to the release of Gray Zone Warfare. I am so excited to get my hands on this game. Are you guys? Please let me know down below in the comments. Share your thoughts and feedback with the video. I always love discussing and getting feedback from you guys. Hope you guys enjoy your weekends. Enjoy some gaming. Thank you for watching as always, guys. Peace out.